All right, guys, here we go. I'm back. Hey, man, what the hell was that? Welcome back, guys. We just finished a book reading, and that lasted about a half hour. But now I'm going to continue my series on The War on Drugs is a Lie. This is part five of a series. What's wrong with my voice, man? Tongue-tied. So I've been reading out of this stack of cards. Drug Wars Trading Cards, the straight dope on America's dirtiest deals. There's 36 cards in total, and this is part 5, and I'm going to read cards number 21 through 26. So, if you guys are new to my channel, I stream video games, I review movies, but I'm an anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist streamer. I speak up for the oppressed. I don't play Republican, Democrat, the duopoly. They're the same party to me. They both support the 1%. They hate the working class. And I just want to talk about like foreign policy, where are our tax dollars going, and just to stop hating our neighbor, guys. And um, the war on drugs. So just to recap, this is part 5. If this is your first time here, war on drugs, guys. It's an absolute scam. Drugs are more readily available than ever, at better prices, and at better quality. It's an absolute failure. It's rooted in racism. Drugs are made to flood the streets of cities, working class neighborhoods. It's to basically it's social control. It's to destroy people's lives, keep them distracted. It's especially targeted at revolutionary movements, aka like the Black Panthers guys. They try and flood organizations like that with drugs to demoralize them, to distract them. And the CIA guys, they will trade guns, drugs, and funds with any right wing extremist group, any right wing group who are willing to do their bidding, to kill, murder, oppress left wing organizations, guerrillas, revolutionary movements, socialists, communists, that kind of thing. Anybody that cuts into corporate profits, guys, the CIA will strike them down and make deals with the dirtiest of the dirty. So now let's get back into the war on drugs is a lie. Let's start with card number 21. So this is going to talk about this is titled the School of Coups and Narco Brass. If you want to take a look at the back, let's read the story on the back. And on this card, guys, you can have, I don't know if you can zoom in on that. Is that going to see the names of these guys? Google these guys so you know I'm not making this up. Rios Montt, Leonidas Arias, Jose Rosa, Walter Reyes. Google all those names, guys. Google the School of the Americas. All right, let's talk about that actually. The School of the Americas, located at Fort Gulick in the Panama Canal Zone, is a vital training center for Latin American military officers sympathetic to America's security and corporate interests in the region. The school was opened in 1949. By the 1970s, more than 33,000 Latin American military officers had passed through its portals. The curriculum emphasizes counterinsurgency warfare, a military euphemism for the specific battery of interrogation, torture, disinformation, disappearance, and death squad tactics associated with low intensity conflict. Because of the school's vigorous anti Marxist orientation, as well as the success of its leading graduates, the School of the Americas is often referred to as the School of Coups. General Augusto Pinochet of Chile and General Hugo Banzer of Bolivia are among the school's illustrious graduates. But General Manuel Noriega of Panama is the most famous of the lot. Noriega, who also studied media manipulation at the U.S. Military Intelligence School in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, worked first for the U.S. Army and then the CIA, allegedly earning $180,000 a year during the Reagan era, an income he supplemented with Medellin cocaine trafficking profits. U.S. trained Honduran officers such as General Jose Bueso Rosa, Colonel Leonidas Torres Arias, and General Walter Lopez Reyes were among the most notorious Latin American military drug lords of the 1980s, providing bases for the U.S. Contra war against Nicaragua while profiting from links to the Medellin cartel. Bueso Rosa was convicted in Miami in 1985 of conspiring to murder the president of Honduras, a plot to be financed by importing a ton of cocaine into the U.S. Dang. Guys, Google the School of the Americas. It's called WINSEC, Western Hemisphere for International Security Cooperation, I believe. If you guys, because I'm going to repeat this. I've said this on this is the fifth part. I've said this on every part. People are like, dude, you're just reading from these trading cards like you know nothing. Like, this is all misinformation. Guys, all these names I just mentioned, Google the School of the Americas. This is no joke. So, one of the CIA's main purpose, guys, is to infiltrate and destabilize countries that are Marxist, leftist, communist, socialist, because they cut into corporate profit, guys. They're not ultra capitalists. They're not friendly to the mega transnational corporations. So, the United States overthrows governments, guys. Also, the Mossad, Israeli intelligence, are working hand in hand with the CIA. So, really messed up stuff, guys. I want y'all to know what our country's really up to. That's what we do on this channel, guys. So, all right, card number 22. Jorge Ochoa, narco-terrorist. The Medellin Cartel, number 22. The infamous Medellin cocaine cartel of Colombia rose to prominence with the help of corrupt Colombian military officials and friends in high places. Panama's General Manuel Noriega and his intelligence chief Mike Harari, an Israeli Mossad officer, were two such friends. In 1982, Noriega and Harari helped the cartel set up a cocaine processing plant in Panama, and thereafter allowed smugglers to use Panama's airstrips and launder profits through Panama's banks, for a hefty fee, of course. Another friend was Oliver North, who accepted the cartel's help in shipping arms to the Contras in return for his arranging radar clearance for U.S.-bound Medellin cocaine flights. Colombia is racked by violence. Since 1987, 10,000 people have been murdered, over half under age 20. The dead include hundreds of judges, scores of journalists, and 3 presidential candidates. Narco-terrorists such as cartel leaders Jorge Ochoa and Pablo Escobar are responsible for some of these deaths, but far more are caused by the Triangle of Terror, an alliance of traffickers, landowners, and military officials that organizes death squads to kill supporters of the leftist Patriotic Union Party. These death squads are trained by Israeli counterinsurgency experts such as Yair Klein, Y-A-I-R, who heads a mercenary agency that teaches security forces to combat what he calls left-wing terrorists, communists, and Maoists. The Bush administration, which gives $50 million a year in military aid to Colombia to fight its bogus drug war, recently scuttled an international coffee agreement, thus causing a 50% drop in coffee prices and providing further incentive for Andean farmers to shift from growing coffee to coca. Damn, I didn't know that. But there you go, guys. So that is number 22. Let's talk about card number 23. Card number 23, I like the artwork. Barry Seal, R.I.P. Title on the back is Ollie's Folly. Let's read. Barry Seal, a drug pilot turned DEA informant, had by 1984 penetrated the top levels of the Medellin cocaine cartel. He told the DEA he would get all the cartel's leaders in one place where they could be arrested. But the CIA, learning that the DEA had photos of Seal refueling in Nicaragua, a meeting there with cartel leader Pablo Escobar and alleged Sandinista official Federico Vaughn, wanted to use these photos to implicate the Sandinistas in cocaine trafficking. Enter Contra lover Oliver North, who lobbied the DEA to release the photos. Unwilling to jeopardize the upcoming drug bust, the DEA refused. Oliver North then leaked the information, resulting in an article in the Mooney-owned Washington Times that implicated top Nicaraguan officials in drug trafficking. The DEA was forced to pull Seal from the field as his cover had been blown. The planned mass arrest never occurred. A year later, Seal was killed by a Medellin hitman. His plane, the Fat Lady, resurfaced in 1986 when it was shot down over Nicaragua with CIA hand Eugene Hasefuss aboard, Hasefus. In 1986, President Reagan displayed the Seal photos on TV as a congressional vote on resuming Contra aid was nearing. This picture, he said, shows Federico Vaughn, a top aide to one of the 9 comandantes who ruled Nicaragua, loading an aircraft with illegal narcotics bound for the U.S. Congress subsequently voted $100 million in military aid to the Contras. But not only was Vaughn unconnected to Sandinista officials, he may have been a U.S. government employee. His Managua phone number rang in a house rented to the U.S. Embassy since 1981, and Oliver North's diaries contain references to him, including the 1984 entry, Freddie Vaughn coming in late July. Ooh, shoot. So, guys, in one of the earlier cards, I talked about Freeway Ricky Ross, who, with the help of Norwin Meneses, Danilo Blandón, who were rich Nicaraguans, they wanted to overthrow the Nicaraguan government. They flooded the streets, crack cocaine in Los Angeles. You can Google those names as well if you need more ammo. Alright, guys, card number 24 is titled The Fall Guy and the Snowman. Car cocaine in the Contras. Card number 24. Let's read. In 1979, the Sandinistas booted dictator Anastasio Somoza out of Nicaragua, a nation historically under such absolute Yankee control that its paper currency was at one time signed by the founder of Prescott Bush's banking firm. Nicaragua was now in the hands of Marxists. The U.S. soon launched a war against Nicaragua from Honduras and Costa Rica, where Contra armies, composed of American right-wing mercenaries, CIA-trained Bay of Pig Cubans, and the remnants of the Somocistas had been formed. In Costa Rica, the war was directed from the ranch of John Hull, a former Indiana farmer who had offered his services to NSC advisor Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. According to several witnesses, among them Stephen Carr, a Florida mercenary who worked for Hull, the ranch served as a transit point in a guns for drugs scheme that supplied weapons to the Contras and the Medellin cartel cocaine to the U.S. drug market. Before he could carry his story to Congress, however, Carr was found dead from an overdose of cocaine, which some speculate was not self-administered. Hull now faces Costa Rican murder charges for his role in the 1984 attempted assassination of renegade Contra leader Eden Pastora in La Pinza, Nicaragua, in which several international journalists were killed. The Washington, D.C.-based Christic Institute is pursuing a lawsuit against Hull and 28 other defendants involved in the La Pinza bombing, and compellingly asserts that many of these men, such Richard Secord, Thomas Clients, and Rafael Chichi Contero, have financed worldwide covert operations with drug profits for 20 years. So there you go. I just talked about Nicaragua and the Contras. I'm glad that came up. 2 more cards to go, guys, for this part of the series. Card number 25 is titled Drug Tunnel, the Mexican Connection. Card number 25, right here. Let's go. Mexico is the largest source of marijuana and heroin entering the U.S., and the transit point for nearly 70% of U.S. bound cocaine as well. Among the more ingenious smuggling routes was an elaborate tunnel under the border to Arizona, which was unearthed in 1990. Mexican President Carlos Salinas de Gortari's recent roundup of major traffickers has not halted the flow of drugs because corruption is endemic in Mexico's police and armed forces. It has, however, led to the U.S. providing $17 million in military and police equipment. In the past, Mexican officials have used such aid to destroy rival drug producers as well to terrorize the populace, a practice which, according to America's Watch, continues. The most infamous Mexican narcotics police outfit was the recently disbanded Federal Security Directorate, DFS. For 45 years, the DFS supplied CIA agents such as E. Howard Hunt with counterintelligence info. By the 1970s, Hunt's Bay of Pigs colleague Alberto Cecilio Falcon was the most important drug lord in Mexico. DFS members acted as bodyguards for Mexico's top traffickers and established huge marijuana plantations. They also organized the Guadalajara cartel, which has shipped more cocaine to the U.S. than any other syndicate. For providing protection, logistics, and removal of competition, the DFS took 25% of the cartel's profits. Former DFS chief Miguel Nazar Haro, mastermind of the Guadalajara cartel, was on the CIA payroll for a decade. He was indicted in 1982 for running a stolen car ring, but the CIA blocked his prosecution, calling him their most important source in Mexico. When the U.S. attorney who brought the case objected to CIA obstruction, he was fired. Dang, that's crazy, man. I love these cards, dude. So, one more card to read for today's War on Drugs stream, guys. This one's pretty harrowing. Titled A Shocking Fate. Enrique Camarena. Camarena? Sorry. Camarena. All right. Enrique Camarena was an aggressive DEA agent stationed in Mexico, discovering that drug traffickers there operated under the protection of Mexican police officials. He made repeated but unsuccessful attempts to alert the Reagan administration to this fact. On February 7, 1985, Camarena was kidnapped outside his Guadalajara office. Several weeks later, his body was found bearing marks of brutal torture. While the DEA zealously sought Camarena's murderers, going so far as to illegally abduct suspects from Mexico, the Justice Department dragged its feet. 4 men were eventually brought to trial and in 1990 were convicted of kidnapping and racketeering. Perhaps the U.S. was reluctant to press the case because a public trial would have exposed embarrassing rifts between the DEA and the CIA over the latter's collaboration with Mexican drug dealers. Witnesses testified that the CIA had protected these traffickers in exchange for their help in the war against Nicaragua and had trained Contras on the ranch of Guadalajara drug dealer leader Rafael Caro Quintero, one of the men who ordered Camarena's murder. Also damaging was the revelation that one of the defendants, billionaire Juan Ramon Mata Ballesteros, was a drug lord who had worked for U.S. intelligence. Mata, linked to both the Guadalajara and Cali cartels, had used his private airline to fly arms to Contra base camps in Honduras under a U.S. State Department grant. Quintero and his partner, Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo, was convicted in Mexico of Camarena's murder, and each was sentenced to 40 years. 27 co-defendants were also convicted and given sentences ranging from 6 to 38 years. Wow. So, you guys, if you want to Google Enrique Camarena, I don't want to know how they tortured this poor man. But rest in peace, dude. You're pretty brave. That guy must have gotten tortured to high hell, dude. Alright, so let's see here. How far are we? So I think we're 2/3 of the way done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! We got 10 cards left to go, guys. I'm going to read cards 27 through 31. We're going to read these 5 next. Let's see. So, yeah, got 5 cards to go. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this War on Drugs series has enlightened you guys, how you realize how corrupt the U.S. government is, what the CIA is actually doing, guys. It's not to protect national security, it's to kill anyone that gets in the way of corporate profit and make sure that capitalism is safe. And one of those things is dealing drugs, guns, and money to right-wing extremists all over the globe, guys. It's not just in Mexico, Central America, South America. It's with mobsters in Italy, France, wherever. East Asia. So, all right. So that about does it there. I got some more gaming coming. I think Claire Obscure. I'm gonna pick back up, guys. It's been a few weeks since I've been playing it, and definitely more movie reviews coming. And I guess I'll talk to you guys later.